Welcome to Heart of Poland with
Karol Paciorek, so you should stay and watch all the episodes.
Karol. Welcome to the Heart of Poland studio.
Thank you very much.
It must be uncomfortable for you because you normally record in a sort of small place.
No, I don't use hangers. Hello, we're in the heart of Poland.
Poland. Oh, this interview could take 4 or 5 times longer if we go by echo. Where is the heart of Poland?
Where is it? Oh, it's in the hearts of Poles, I think. Do you mean the place? The one place? There's nothing like it. I don't think so. Like in any other country. There's not like one heart. Come on.
Well, we could go into that, but I'm just curious. For example, where is your heart of Poland?
My heart of Poland? I think it's in somewhere between my place in Warsaw and my hometown, which is called Leszczyna. It's like a really small village, in Małopolska. Because I spend time here and I spend some time there with my family, with my parents. So I think that those two places, and in between, I've been living for 8 years in Krakow. So also, but now I'm just going there for a couple of days, sometimes to drink and meet my friends. But yeah,
our viewers, they come from all around the world,
Sure.
and they love Poland. I'm just curious. I've never talked about this before, but I think you might have a perspective. Is there a small town Polish mentality and like a city mentality? When you go back to your family, like say, "Oh, you've changed,"
oh yeah, of course.
Warszawiak now.
Sure, of course, yeah.
What's the difference?
But it's easy to overcome. I think like in any other place, because in any other country, when you move from smaller city, like in France, you move to Paris, and UK, you move to London, and you go back for holidays, and you meet your folks, and you're like, city guy now. Look at you. Look at the brands. Look at the car. Come on. It's like a Monty Python scheme. So I think it's really easy to go past that bridge and to explain that if you are actually still the same person, because you can change. Obviously, you can. But I like to think about myself that I didn't change that much, and if it's all about the clothes and it's, sometimes you lose your accent, but it's not that much.
How has Leszczyna, yeah?
Leszczyna.
Leszczyna. How has Leszczyna changed in this like 10-ish year period or longer?
I think it changed mostly because of the economic changes. So there was like lots of agricultural things back then, and there's now I can see the fields which are more empty, right? Because it's not good enough to actually do the hard work and just grow something. And more people are working at the shops and they're traveling to the city to do different jobs. But
so they're more mobile.
They're more mobile, yeah, absolutely.
Has like the small town community thing also gone? Because I find myself sometimes I spend a lot less time traveling around Poland than I used to. But when I drive around those little small communities, I'm always thinking, what's the like interaction between people here? Does everybody know each other still, or has that all
I
gone?
think so. Yeah, I think so. Because there's obviously, if you're living in a small town, you have this one thing called church, and people meet there and people talk before the mass and after the mass. Obviously, you have a limited list of shops when people can gather and can just talk, and also you have your closest neighbors, and you talk to them and you meet with them. You don't have that much pubs or clubs in small towns, so people they meet at their houses. They go to their homes and they bring food, bring drinks, and they meet and talk. So I think that the spirit of the communities, maybe it's not that tight like in the 90s, but still, the small town is a small town.
Do you have some of your friends from that town stayed there?
Yeah, of course.
And you meet up with them when you go back?
Not that much, because I don't, my drive from here to my town's 4.5 hours, and I can go only for the weekends. So when I go there, I want to meet my family,
Yeah.
and I don't have that much spare time. But yeah, sometimes I meet my friends, so we chat for some time.
Dude, I've gone on a sort of, I can call it a Paciorkian tangent by going somewhere completely where I didn't want to go, but now I can come back again, which is something you can do on your show or one of your shows, which is the beauty of podcasts and long-form interviews, which you're so famous for, including interviews with the Polish presidential candidates.
Yeah, fingers crossed for the next ones.
Yeah, exactly. We're going to talk about that in a second. So how many YouTube videos do you think you might have filmed in your time? Because, dude, you got
more than 2,000. More than 2,000.
And you've basically been going for 11 years, am I right?
10.
10.
This May is going to be my 10th anniversary.
So basically, I think the first YouTube video was what, 2007-ish or something? Or
No, 2010.
2010?
Yeah, my first video was on May 10th of 2010.
I mean, sorry, the channel had only been going for not that long anyway. As a format. What inspired you? Let's go back to the first video.
Sure.
What inspired you to?
Yeah, my first thing, I was teaching photography. I did the show called Podcast 35 Milliliters, which is connected to the photography nomenclature. And it was in 2010, and you probably remember back then people were starting to buy bigger DSLRs, digital cameras, because they became affordable.
Yeah.
And they were buying, for example, camera for like 2K, 3K zlotys, and they didn't actually know how to use it. They were using auto mode all the time. So, and I'm a amateur photographer. I like to do photos. So I thought that, well, I can teach you something. I'm not a professional, so I'm not going to use strange language. I'm not going to be, way up here talking about the ideas and stuff. No. I'm gonna show you how to use your camera for you just bought to go to holidays, right? And that's how I started.
Not with a business particular aim in mind, but just to help other people.
Yeah, that was the only thing I thought that it would be good to show on YouTube, because I was thinking about the medium. And also I found the guys who were starting, trying to do internet television back then. We were trying to make like few channels which are based on topics. Mine was photography. There was a second was circling around Apple products, and the third one was about fashion. So we were trying to do another one about the old-timer cars, like old school cars. So yeah, we were trying to do back then internet television.
How long did it take before your family were comfortable with you being a YouTuber, which is kind of like a pejorative word.
Long time, yeah. I was because I dropped off my studies because of YouTube.
Oh man!
Yeah, in 2011, I thought, because I was studying. I love my studies. I did the comparative studies of culture at the Jagielloński University. I was in third grade, so it was the third year, and I thought, I love my studies, but they're not gonna get me a career exactly, because it's not that kind of study. So I thought, oh right, so let's just do YouTube. And my parents were like, okay, it's fine, because I started to earn money back then from YouTube, so they were fine. But actually, I think that they accepted, like in their minds, that the reality of what I'm doing. When me and my friend, when we wrote the book, so that was like the physical thing for them. It was like we had the book based on our YouTube channel, right? So that's the connection between the old media and the new media, the book, and they were like, all right, so it's probably real.
Are you like an early adopter in every other category? Because that's like 2010 is a super early adopter for YouTube. Now everybody wants to be a YouTuber.
Now it's a cliche to be a YouTuber.
Oh man, yeah, it's embarrassing to even say.
Dude, people come from the UK and do our stuff. They're like, just come. I can be a YouTuber here because I know English. I'm gonna be a star.
I was compensating for lack of attention in my childhood, I think.
All right, sure.
Which is a classic YouTuber motivation. Maybe we'll go there a little bit deeper. But are you someone who's interested in technology and trends, and you're always looking to be at the
I'm getting older.
We're recording this in the middle of coronavirus. So you want to be at the start of the upward tick, or
no? I just want to survive.
We'll see about that.
I know.
This is why this program's so good.
It's huge. I have to scream.
I noticed you have an old school watch there rather than an Apple Watch or a Fitbit.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. I don't I don't want it yet. It's
You're not a
for me
stat
yet.
tracker or like a biohacker of any kind.
No, not yet, not yet. I'm not against. I don't need. I use a app for my sleep to track my sleep and to wake me up at certain moments. So that's the new thing for me.
Oh, that sounds interesting. But let's go back to your guests.
Sure.
So, if you can just tell us, maybe our viewers, about some of the really well-known people you've done. We'll
Sure.
go on to the Polish presidential candidates as well. But I mean, you've interviewed just about everybody.
No, not yet. Come on. I'm as we're recording, I have 93 interviews on my account, and there are some TV personalities. There are some other YouTubers. Obviously, I have writers, I have actors, directors. I don't have anyone. I didn't interview any sport guy. No, not yet. Not yet.
Difficult crowd, Karol.
Why?
Well, because other than sport, they don't tend to talk about very much. Maybe
Oh, but they are interesting.
I'm joking, obviously. Everyone has a story to tell. Everyone's fascinating. And what I see in you is someone who's deeply interested in stories and sitting with people, and you seem to be interested in the human nature.
Yeah.
I wonder, how do you think those 90 plus conversations have changed you? Because it's great to look through the lens of other people's eyes and see the world in different perspectives.
Definitely, I know that I'm. It's a curve still, but I'm learning to listen more carefully. I think that is huge. If you would talk to my wife, she would be like, Karol doesn't listen not to anybody about anything. So that's my little therapy to just sit still and listen to people. That's good. And also the politicians on this, it's a huge deal because I have to listen to people which I don't actually agree about many things, and actually listen, not to try to listen and be like, no, you're wrong. No, to actually listen because I know that they have some reasons to believe in things that they believe. So that would be the biggest thing.
You also have to kind of, let's go into the presidential discussions, which are really interesting because they're long form, they're not these 2-minute soundbite television things. You have to kind of balance the line between being friendly and conversationalist, but also challenging people when you do feel that they say something that you don't agree with. You've only two, pretty incredible. You've done 2 so far, and you've got obviously some more, hopefully in the bank to finish the complete set. Are you happy with your performance as an interviewer?
No, I'm terrible. Come on. No, it's shit. No. I'm not. I have this thing when I'm done interviewing, when I turn off the cameras, turn off the lights, when I say bye-bye to my guests, I go to the other room where are my friends and my wife, and they're always asking, so how was it? Because I'm in the room. There's just me and the guests most of the times. So they're asking, how was it? And I'm like, every time, I don't know. I have no clue. I have no idea if it was good or bad or just. I have no. When I'm editing, then I get the sense of it just a bit, but only after publishing I know something. When some other peoples will tell me, it was good, and that's the moment when I'm trying to take something and learn for the future interviews. But just after the interview, I'm like, it was terrible.
So your sleep app wakes you up in the middle of the night? Did I understand correctly?
No. It's an alarm. It's an alarm.
Okay, so it wakes you up at the right time.
At the right time, yeah. For example, when I set up alarm at 7, it can wake me up at 6, quarter to 7.
Okay.
Because it's the best moment.
Do you ever find yourself lying in bed before or after the interview, replaying the conversations that you've had in your mind and thinking, could I have gone a different way?
No, my mind is empty after.
So how have you worked on your interviewing style then? Like, what's been your approach to these conversations? Let's just think about the presidential candidates.
I'm aiming to get from them not the regular political interviews, just the answers, but I wanna show something which is in between the lines. I think just their expressions, their behaviors in a longer period, because we're sitting there for an hour. So I want to show more of this because, I'm not going to pretend that I'm a political journalist, which I'm not, obviously. And I'm not a psychologist. And I'm not like a journalist with 20-year experience. I don't have that. I'm trying to do something slightly different. And I don't know how it's going to, work out, but I'm trying.
Well, I'm enjoying them.
Thank you.
Can you reveal your next interview, or is that we have to wait?
Yeah. If it's all gonna be all right, my next interviewer is gonna be Robert Biedroń this week.
Who's leader of the Spring Party.
Yeah. But now he's at the collective of the left-wing parties as a presidential candidate. Yeah.
You must have had a moment where you thought, do I really want to do this? Because Polish politics can be quite a difficult place to be in, and your guests so far have been fairly non-controversial. They've been great in their different disciplines. Stepping into Polish politics, there wasn't a moment you thought, probably it's a good idea, but...
Yeah, all the time. But I think that it's worth it. It's just worth trying, right? I know that doing, especially for YouTube, where you have brands, advertisers, people who want or don't want to work with you, they might just look at the interviews with politicians and be like, but still, I think it's worth it because people are voting or not voting or just don't go vote at all. And the biggest group, people who are not voting, are young people, young adults, like 20-something to 30-something. And I think that giving them something new, not the regular TV or radio stuff with the politicians, giving them something new, it just might, help them to choose their vote.
It says something fascinating about media, that it's 2020, and yet this is still a fairly fresh approach to have like an in-depth conversation without the aggression and the 1-minute soundbite approach or the 3-minute interview approach that characterizes so much.
I don't understand it. I absolutely, honestly, I don't get it. Really, I have no idea why they are not doing it a different way.
Yeah. Because at 2010, you can say, okay, well, this is how it is. But 10 years later, actually, not that much has changed. If anything, it's actually gone in a slightly harsher direction, focused on the social media 1-minute piece that we were talking about as well. Well, I wonder, do you feel like the candidates in these conversations, I certainly have felt it, have been a lot more relaxed and a lot more revealing? I mean, you've done 2. I was about to say you've only done 2, but I mean, you've done 2 with more to come.
I hope so. I don't know them that much to actually have the certainty that they are more relaxed. I'm trying to give them everything possible to make that space, to be comfortable. But I have to remember that they are people who are constantly 24/7. They have to fight from the moment they wake up. First interview, meeting with the staff, meeting with the press, TV journalist who likes them, and then TV journalist who doesn't like them, right? So they're like constantly struggling, and I'm not sure if I'm giving, enough to make them comfortable. It's not like, late night talk with the wife at home, but I'm trying to approach this situation.
How have your fans? You've got, hundreds of thousands of followers on various channels. You almost started with TikTok, as you revealed before, so you can follow Karol on TikTok as well, if you so wish. How have they reacted to you entering this relatively?
Great! They were super supportive, because I was actually I have a group on Facebook for the closest and most engaged viewers, and I'm talking with them about this project from the first email, because I wanted to be absolutely transparent, because my first fear was that if only one candidate will come and I will record only one conversation, many people would think that it was being paid, or they just something's being arranged. So I was trying to be as transparent as I could, and they're super supportive, because they are actually telling me what's bad in their opinion, but also they can tell me what's okay, and that's super cool.
Fortunately, you've now got 2, so you can definitely
Yeah,
prove
I
that
have
you're
2,
not
and
with 3.
third is on the way, and I hope the 4th, and yeah.
So if you are a presidential candidate in the Polish presidential race and you're watching this program, which is statistically
Which
speaking,
you should watch it, right?
definitely should.
Come on, man.
A unique perspective on the heart of Poland.
Absolutely.
Then you can get in contact with Karol by checking.
Here's
him
my
out.
number, 505.
Now this has taken me slightly off the beaten path, but perhaps I want to go back to what you would be doing, Karol, if you weren't doing YouTube. If you can I call you a YouTuber, or are you're not going to bristle?
Yeah, sure.
What
That's my job.
If you weren't a YouTuber, what would you be doing? What would you want to do?
It's a really rusty thing for me now after 10 years, because I'm doing this for 10 years. I had to be like 10 years younger and think about my situation back then. So I was at the university, so I would probably finish it, do the master's degree, and I don't know. No idea. No, actually, no.
Work in an office, probably, statistically speaking.
Yeah, well, statistically, yeah. But maybe I would be actually the actual photographer. Maybe that's one. It's possible. But knowing me, no, I would do something different.
Well, I'm going to pretend now and ask you to pretend as well that you are the king of Poland.
The king of Poland.
Yes, they decided to get rid of you. Basically, everyone watches your interviews
Behead this guy.
with the presidential candidates, and they go, you know what? Let's forget the candidates. How about the interviewer? Why don't we just make him the king of Poland?
Yeah.
What would be your first royal decree on the first day of your royal ascension?
Do I have a castle? Do they have a horse? How do you mean the king? Like the British style or the medieval style?
Basically, let's call it a constitutional monarchy. So they would say, let's go back to the old school. We'll elect our monarch and he can reign for the rest of his life. Maybe we'd have to play around a little bit more with the Polish constitution, but let's assume that you basically can do whatever you like.
So the one thing I would do would be to create a contest for my advisors.
Like a fighting contest?
No. Like I would create a contest, like a concourse, right?
Yeah. So to appoint them.
Yes.
Karol, that's too sensible. I wanted something to change the country.
But I wouldn't change the country by myself, come on.
But you're now the king of Poland, so you can do something to improve the country, let's say.
Yeah.
Well, one thing would you do to improve?
I would need an advisor to actually do something.
I feel like you're avoiding the question here.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
All right, so maybe I'll ask it from a different angle. If you could.
What do you want to hear?
You're moving past my questions with
No, I'm not.
You've learned something from these presidential candidates.
Because I cannot imagine being a king without people who are helping you, because I can be good at, I don't know, math, but I have no idea about sports or geography, and there's no way. I'm terrible at managing people.
It's like a politician's answer, like avoiding the
Paciorek 2025. Thank you very much.
You were joking about that with it. All right, how would you improve Poland if you could? You're no longer king.
How would I improve? Again, is this like a one thing?
We start with one and then see where.
All right. Oh man. I would. Yeah, I know one. I would dramatically change the stream of information. I would trying to improve the level of information in people's heads to actually help them understand reality better, because I think that people are not doing, they're not creating their best opportunities, they're not doing the best things for them, is because they don't have enough information, or they have wrong information.
Dude, I love that answer.
Thank you very much.
You could have been king and made that happen, but,
all right.
But you're no longer king.
No, I couldn't.
So.
That's the thing. I couldn't do that as a king without people who would actually do it. How do you think? I would do the king TV?
If the Queen told me to do something, I'd do what she did. But we're not going to go too far down that rabbit hole. Where's your favourite place in Poland?
Oh, it's a great question. One favorite.
I know.
Let me think. Because I have one. I just have to think. My favorite place in Poland, dude. I think that would be Krakow. but in summer, and that would be Kazimierz in summer, like early night, like 9 p.m. It's like 20 something degrees. It's July, and I'm sitting in Kazimierz, and I have a glass of red wine, and I'm with my friends. Yeah.
That does feel like a good memory. In a cold March.
But also that would count for a Warsaw Vistula River, the rebuilt part. But I would switch from wine to beer, and it's loud techno music, and some guys are smoking joints back then, and there's no police, and the people are like, "Yo, what up?" That's cool. Yeah.
Karol, what's the most Polish thing about you?
Oh, I think I'm Polish, kind of grumpy sometimes. Yeah, my wife would agree. Of course. I love Polish food. I don't eat meat for more than a year, but when we have the vegetarian or vegan version of schabowy with the ziemniaki and kapusta, and I was like, dude, it's the best. Why we should eat anything other than that? It can be vegetarian, right?
So would you say that being grumpy is a Polish thing? And why are we grumpy?
Because we like the real reason, I think, is because for so long we couldn't be certain about the better future, that even if someone would show us that, dude, you have the better future, we're like, nah, it's gonna end in like a year. It's gonna be gone. It's just for a moment. Let's not be too excited about it. That's the real reason. Because for so long we had like the moments of good times and the ages of bad times. The moments of good times and the ages of bad times. So people are like, don't show me your new something. It's gonna be like, in 2 years, it's gonna be gone. So.
Karol, I think that's a good moment to end. That was a very profound point. I definitely agree with that as well. Should we do a virtual elbow bump from our distances? Okay, nothing like a connection with the virtual elbow bump. Thank you very much. And
thank you very much for having me.
I feel like our cameras, which don't normally run this long, but I wanted to do a Paciorekian long interview, as long as I could possibly do. Our cameras will probably explode from the badges have gone through. So you can check Karol Paciorek out. Where am I looking? I'm looking over here. Wherever you find him on the internet. And of course, make sure you check out the Heart of Poland show on the First News channel for more fascinating interviews with fascinating people leading fascinating lives in the fascinating country of Poland. I'll see you again for another episode of Heart of Poland.